In chapter 5 of La Frontera by Gloria Anzaldúa, we are talking about the linguistic terrorism that she explains, and this is a part that I like that she wrote. Desde Lenguada, hacemos el español diferente. We are your linguistic nightmare, your linguistic aberration, your linguistic mestizaje, the subject of your burla. Because we speak with tongues of fire, we are culturally certified, racially, culturally, and linguistically somos huérfanos. We speak an orphan language. Chicanos who grew up speaking Chicano Spanish have internalized the belief that we speak poor Spanish. How our language has been used against us by the dominant culture, we use our language differences against each other. Chicana feminists often skirt around each other with suspicion and hesitation. For the longest time, I couldn't figure it out. Then it dawned on me. To be close to another Chicana is like looking into the mirror. We are afraid of what we will see there. Pena, shame, low estimation of self. In childhood, we are told that our language is wrong. Repeated attacks on our native tongue diminish our sense of self. The attacks continue throughout our lives. Chicanas feel uncomfortable talking in Spanish to Latinas afraid of their censor. Secure. Their language was not outlawed in their countries. They had a whole lifetime of being immersed in their native tongue. Generations, centuries in which Spanish was a first language, taught in school, heard on radio and TV, and read in the newspaper. If a person Chicana or Latina has a low self-esteem of my native tongue, she also has a low estimation of me. Often with Mexicanas y Latinas, we will speak English as a neutral language. Even among Chicanas, we tend to speak English at parties, or conferences. Yet at the same time, we are afraid the other will think we are agringadas because we don't speak Chicano Spanish. We oppress each other, trying to out Chicano each other, to be the real Chicanas, to speak like Chicanos. There is no one Chicano language, just as there is no one Chicano experience. I feel like she talks about in this section about it, because it's true. Like, you'll see people talking just English, and they're Spanish. Or as for an example, a couple weeks ago I went to the store with my mom, and we had the cashier person. She was Mexican. She was talking good with me before, and my mom told me to ask her a question. Well, she understood perfectly what she said. By the time I asked her, she already had the answer for the question, and that really bothers me, because it's like you're not talking your language that you also know, your Spanish, and it's like maybe it's a like thing that your boss told you to do, like don't speak Spanish to the customers, only speak English to them, which I feel it's pretty dumb, because if you know both languages, there's a lot of Hispanic people that do not know English, so their Spanish, it's they need help, and I just feel like they shouldn't do that. It's like your both language, speak them. And in school, it's like another thing. Like, we're not really taught Spanish. I mean, there is Spanish classes, but it's like they teach you the proper Spanish. They don't really like. It's not compared like others. The Spanish that we know. So like in my house, like I'm the youngest of two brothers, so I feel like my English, I kind of got it more like from them. Like when they would go to school, they would talk Spanish among themselves. So I feel like I also learned from them. Then, because here in my house, like we only speak Spanish, because my both parents, they only speak Spanish. They don't speak English. And another point that I saw in this book, in the Pixar, is that I kind of read a little bit of the section where it talks about the Chicana education from the civil rights era to the present. One of the parts that I found really interesting was that in San Antonio in 1940s, each student was given a ribbon that said, I am an American. I speak English, and was argued to train in classmates heard using Spanish. Those caught speaking Spanish face corporal punishment, after school detention, and other forms of discipline. Later, as an elementary school teacher in the 1950s, Bernal fined his pupils a penny for each time they used Spanish, saving the process for a class party. So like I feel like there it's like it was unfair because like we even now it's like some people don't even want to like in high school like you're or in even elementary middle school you're not allowed to speak Spanish in classes because it's like no like we don't understand the language so just talk English, we all know it and all that. So I feel like that was really like crucial because I mean we should all be allowed to speak our both languages wherever it's at. So I feel that was really unfair for the Mexicans, for the Hispanic children, and really like not really bad that they would have put ribbons on on students that said I am an American, like kind of being racist, and it's just pretty crazy how now it's like we wanna like there's a lot of people that now are trying to learn Spanish. So it's like at first you like we're not letting the Mexicans speak Spanish. Now it's like the other way around. There's a lot of American people trying to learn Spanish now. So I just feel like it's really ironic that now like it's vice versa. And yeah.